to another video. Today we are going to be discussing 15 classic and other tracks that should be in F1 2020. Yes, this is the start of my F1 2020 game idea. I shall be doing some more of these, but I thought I'd start with classic tracks because mainly because it's something that definitely needs to be added to F1 2020. And also, I haven't quite finished modding Final Fantasy. If I'm going to be doing, because the idea that I've got is to do mock-ups for this, and this one doesn't require a mock-up, because it's simply just showing you pictures of the track. So yes, I will be getting to do some mock-ups later in the series. So if you are new to the channel, then please make sure you get subscribed for more F1 2020 game ideas. If you've got any ideas of your own that you wish to share, then please let us all know in the comments below. So yes, I need to explain why it says classic and / other tracks, because there are 12 classic tracks and then 3 tracks from other series. And you can probably see on your screen right now that the first track is, of course, Adelaide. Adelaide hosted the Australian Grand Prix in the 80s and early 90s. It was a street track. It was better than Melbourne, than Albert Park. And it actually hosted the shortest Grand Prix ever in 1991. I think they only got like 5 laps in. It was that monsoon that emerged on Adelaide, which is surprising considering the fact that Adelaide is known for being a surfing city with lots of sunshine and beaches. So yes, it'd be quite cool to see Adelaide. Also, I would like to see that these classic tracks, I don't know, they need to do something with the calendar and career mode, because having the same 22 races for next year, having the same 22 races for 10 seasons is boring. We need to change it up, because otherwise, I don't want to play I don't want to do career mode. If I've got to 13 races this year for career mode, so it'd be that mostly because the game is a bit unplayable in career mode. But ultimately, I'll be getting bored anyway because I'm having the same old stuff. Because I know that round 1's going to be Australia. It's just career mode's lacking. That's another video. Okay, so we'll save that for another video about career mode. But let's move on with our classic tracks and other tracks list. Number 2 is one I can see that you guys are gonna say why. Number 2, for those of you who don't know, is Avis. Avis is a track that no longer exists. It was in Berlin, I'm not sure whereabouts in Berlin it was, but it was basically a track that had 2 long straights, and at the end of 2 straights was 2 parabolicas. It's literally that. It got called dangerous for the amount of speeds that they are, but it'd actually be quite cool to see that track. I don't know, try and test out maybe like to entice new people. It could be like a testing track where you could test. If you're trying to move from assists away from assists, then Avis could be the great, because you probably just need to lift off at the end of each straight. Number 3, Brands Hatch. Why not? Brands Hatch hosted the British Grand Prix. Did it host? I'm not sure if it hosted the European Grand Prix. That might have been. I think that was in Donington that did the European Grand Prix. It hosted the British Grand Prix on and off in the 80s. Brands Hatch is in Kent, in the UK, so British track. And it's quite a nice track. It's got swooping left-hander. The DTM still use it, so it's a track that's in use right now. And it was in the when they last had the Flash Tracks in F1 2013. It was in there, and I don't see why they can't bring it back. Everybody seemed to love it, so it should be in next year's game. So moving to number 4 now, Buenos Aires, the Argentine Grand Prix. This track really hasn't featured anywhere. It's been talked about, like returning for about 10 years since the owners of the track went bust, and really not a lot's actually going on there. So be nice to see the track back, even if in the game. I'm sure there's a series of Argentina F1 fans remember, well, very few will probably remember Fangio, but more like Reutemann in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, not a lot recently. So yes, it'd be nice. The track, I don't really remember the track. I mean, it didn't even last host a Grand Prix in 1998 anyway, so yeah. It'd be good to see the track, but the track has got a lot of heritage. It used to be one of the opening rounds of the season, along with Brazil, and it'd be nice to see it back in the F1 game. Number 5, Hockenheim. Now you could say, wait a minute, Hockenheim is in this year's game, but of course, Hockenheim is not on the calendar for F1 2020, and it's a great shame that Germany is being left, especially the fact that German Grand Prix was the best race this year. I don't see it being topped. And Hockenheim is one of those circuits that they could have an alternative layout through the forest. It's sort of parts of it. The old track through the forest is still there. Well, when I say there, you can still see the route of it partially through the forest where they used to go. Now, of course, they've got this stadium section, but at the very least have the circuit on next year's game. Would really be nice, especially if also it would come in the calendar. Number 6, our first non-F1 race, other track, Hong Kong. Now, this one will be more difficult to have in the game because it's currently licensed to R Factor 2 for Formula E. But this track looks quite good. It's down the harbour front in Hong Kong, in case you don't follow Formula E. It actually looks quite nice. You've got the sky rises of Hong Kong in the background, and also the harbour of Hong Kong as well. Be able to race a Formula 1 car down there would be absolutely excellent. I don't actually have R Factor 2, so I can't actually go and race on it. But yes, it'd be quite good, and that would, I don't know, raise awareness of Formula E for F1 gaming fans. I don't know, but number 7, Imola. Iconic track, used to host the San Marino Grand Prix for a number of years and then got dropped off the calendar. Sort of tried to come back a couple of times as the Italian Grand Prix when Monza contract was uncertain, but now Monza's contract is certain. Imola's looking like it's not going to be coming back soon, so it'd be nice to have it back in the game. It's a track I'll never really do well at anyway, but it's got a lot of heritage, and I think it should definitely be back in the game. Number 8, Indianapolis. Yes, and mate, I know that Indianapolis is an oval, but we're talking about the F1 track here. They could have the option to have the oval as one of those alternative tracks, but Indianapolis would be great to be coming back, especially as well. It hosted the most ridiculous Grand Prix ever. in 2005. I remember that, when there were 6 on the grid. It was basically Schumacher and Barrichello went and had the 1-2, and then of course it would be the Jordans, Minardis fighting it out for 3rd place. So yes. Now, number 9 is Istanbul. Istanbul, of course, is a track that many people want to have back on the calendar with its turn 8 corner. I remember when the 2 Red Bulls crashed, and it was great because Red Bull were dominating at the time, and McLarens at the time were Button and Hamilton. Then decided to go racing together until, of course, Martin Whitmarsh decided that he wanted to make the Grand Prix boring again. Yes, Istanbul, especially the fact it's been on the previous Codemasters game, they would have the survey data. They just need to probably want to go and update it. The track's still there; it's still being used to this day. So yes. Number 10. Kyalami. Now, most people probably won't know what Kyalami is. Kyalami is the home of the South African Grand Prix. Or was, because South Africa's sort of trying to come back a couple of times like Argentina, but yes, Kyalami is a track. We need, at very least, to have a track from Africa on the grid. Kyalami hosted the South African Grand Prix for many years. There was once a Moroccan Grand Prix, but Kyalami has an iconic status of having hosted so many Grand Prix and not on the list. So definitely need to see that one. It is outside Johannesburg. Number 11, Laguna Seca. Why? I mean, why not? I mean, who wouldn't want to see an F1 car go down the corkscrew? Iconic track again. Not in F1 status, but I'd definitely like to see them trying to go down the corkscrew, and it'd actually be a good track just to have some fun, chucking an F1 car around a track that it would probably never race around. Number 12, Long Beach. United States Grand Prix West. This is one of the few tracks I've actually been to in real life. Long Beach is an iconic circuit. You've got the old Queen Mary, and next to it, it's basically they call it Monaco without the boat, without the yachts, basically. Although there are quite a few yachts there. It's a great track. I've done it quite a few times on my channel, Formula 1. On Forza, but it'd be quite good to have it a full grid in an F1 game. Number 13, the Nurburgring. I mean, who would want to have the Nurburgring back? I haven't raced on the Nurburgring for ages, and the old track was better than the new track, the track they got to have the Nordschleifen as well as that option. It'd be quite good to see Formula 1 cars trying to get round in 8 minutes a lap. It's an iconic track, and such the fact it has so much history there, and yet we still don't race there for some reason. Bring it back to the grid, and make it cheaper for them to run. Unfortunately, money is a great object, which is why some of these tracks aren't even on the calendar anymore. Number 14, our third other track, is the Royal Docks and Exile Centre. Now, this track hasn't had a race around it yet, but it is the track that's going to be hosting the E-Prix in London next year. I hope to be able to go. But it is going to be one of the first tracks in the world to have an indoor and outdoor track, and that would be quite cool to have on a Formula 1 game, to have an indoor and an outdoor section. And the final track in today's video is Watkins Glen. Used to host the United States Grand Prix. It's quite a closed track, but it does have the New York skyline in the background, which of course which would draw to the game. Maybe has some helicopter shots going over New York, a bit like with when they go to Hungary, and they show shops of Budapest. That's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe channel new, see more F1 2020 game ideas as and when they come out. Apologies for the slight lack of uploads, but I've been preparing for Final Fantasy and trying to get also a Wolf Gaming video out as well. But until the next video, I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much. Right, enjoy your day, and goodbye.